The topic of today's hearing involves the MS-13 crisis that's growing and spreading in communities across the nation. The atrocities of these criminals are not new. The group has existed since the 1980s and has made a reputation for itself as a perpetrator of extreme and often gruesome violence. This organization has been dubbed the world's most dangerous gang, and some say it would be a terrorist organization. But you wouldn't expect anything less from a group whose model happens to be kill, rape, and control. Unfortunately, over the past 2 years, this terrifying model has become a vicious reality for many communities across our country. So far this year, the gang has been publicly linked to dozens of high-profile killings, rapes, and assaults across the country, from Washington, D.C., metro area, to Houston, Texas, and I name a lot of other communities as well. Undoubtedly, there are many, many more that simply haven't been reported. Let me give the committee just a few examples of this group's absolute brutality and inhumanity. MS-13 has been responsible for nearly 20 murders on Long Island just since 2010, with victims including high school-aged children as young as 16. The group is also considered responsible for an additional 32 violent acts, including 8 attempted murders. In January, 2 gang members, both of whom are unauthorized immigrants, lured a 22-year-old man from New Jersey to Maryland with the promise of sex, where he butchered that person and left him in the woods near Gaithersburg, Maryland, to rot. In March, 2 MS-13 members were charged with kidnapping and sexually assaulting 3 teenage girls for several weeks and eventually murdering one of them in what has been described as a satanic ritual. In March and April, a string of MS-13 murders occurred across Southern Virginia, with perhaps the most graphic being the murder of 17-year-old Raymond Wood. According to reports, Wood's body was found face down in the road, and the MS-13 suspects had cut his hands and throat before stabbing him 16 times. Now, while these examples are horrifying, they're far from isolated. According to the Department of Justice, MS-13 regularly conducts gang activities in at least 40 states, the District of Columbia, and their violence touches nearly every major community in America. What's even more troubling than the recent surge of MS-13 gang violence is the fact the organization has a new and more disturbing recruitment strategy. It's this: targeting unaccompanied aliens, children. Let me tell you a story of one such child who was targeted by MS-13 and ultimately lost his life to their violence. As the Washington Post reported last Friday afternoon, Danny Centineo Miranda was just 16 years old when he was apprehended at the border. He traveled to the United States without his parents, and like other minors, he was sent by the federal government to live with a sponsor, in this case an uncle, in an American community. Danny was enrolled in the local school where he was, according to reports, sucked into tensions between MS-13 and rival gangs. This tension eventually led MS-13 gang leaders in El Salvador to order Danny's assassination, and he was shot to death at the school bus stop one morning. Danny's tragic story is all too common example of MS-13's ruthless targeting of children. It is well known that MS-13 actively targets and recruits children as young as 8 years old. Unaccompanied minors are particularly prime candidates for gang recruitment. Their illegal status and Central American heritage alone make them vulnerable targets for MS-13 recruitment. While their illegal status and Central American heritage are key factors in MS-13's targeting, without a doubt, the failure of the current system for handling these children is also to blame. The current system is fraught with abuse, with systematic errors, and lack of effective cooperation. Today, we will hear from agencies who share responsibility for allowing these children to fall through the cracks and become target for MS-13 recruitment. To help us get to the bottom of the crisis, we've asked representatives at the table, the Justice Department, Health and Human Services, and the Department of Homeland Security to appear today and to give us their point of view and answer our questions. Independent reports have found that the Customs and Border Patrol has allowed many MS-13 gang members to enter the United States. According to the whistleblower documents obtained by Chairman Johnson, the Obama administration knowingly released at least 16 known MS-13 members into communities after their apprehension. Many of these members were unaccompanied children. Once unaccompanied children are apprehended, the Office of Refugee Settlement is supposed to find these children an appropriate sponsor. Often these sponsors themselves are in the country illegally, and many of them have criminal backgrounds. Because of the lack of post-release oversight, many children have been placed in dangerous situations, including illegal working environments and in some cases even prostitution rings. This precarious combination of events, trafficking to and apprehension at the United States border and placement with inappropriate sponsors makes unaccompanied children vulnerable to gang recruitment. With promises of a cultural community and an escape from often harrowing and isolating living conditions at home, MS-13 has become an alternative option for too many young people. In spite of ample evidence that unaccompanied children are a prime target for MS-13 recruitments, none of the government agencies here today have any statistics about how many of the more than 10,000 gang members in the United States entered and were recruited as unaccompanied children. The end result of the government's total failure to establish an efficient process and meaningful oversight of the placement of these children has led to the current MS-13 crisis. Today's hearing is a first step in plotting a path forward. Throughout the course of this hearing, we're going to explore how Customs and Border Patrol and the Office of Refugee Resettlement can better cooperate to ensure the safe and proper placement of unaccompanied children and to decimate MS-13's recruitment incentive. We're also going to hear what steps Immigration Customs Enforcement and the Department of Justice are taking to eliminate this organization on the back end. At the end of this hearing, I fully expect the government witnesses to have given this committee a better understanding of what needs to be and must be done to end this threat. Too many innocent Americans and immigrant lives are at stake.